everyone. Let's try this again. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no technical difficulties this time. Hello, everyone. All right, let's try this again. All right, let me see. We'll wait for Chelsea to join. Hello, hello. If you've missed it, this is our amazing Instagram Live about our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging task force. We have the incredible Chelsea Walsh that will be joining us. She is our DEIB resource manager and senior corporate recruiter on our team. She's a dear friend of mine. She's absolutely amazing. So fingers crossed we can get this going again. Hopefully no technical difficulties. So let's give this a try. Fingers crossed. Let's see. All right, let's try that. Thank you all for your patience. Oh, here we go. This is looking promising.
Okay, I think this is good. My biggest fear is that I can't get the technology to work. So, the biggest fear happened.
It's okay. We're just gonna roll through the punches. No worries. We're here. We're on. We're ready to rock and roll. And so hopefully everyone is on here. Yay! Thank you all for your patience. So excited to be here again. This is our amazing DEIB representative. Chelsea is our resource manager and senior corporate recruiter here at Beacon Hill. Again, dear friend of mine. She's absolutely incredible. And we're so excited to dive in and have her share a little bit more about our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging task force, our different initiatives, and all of the amazing things the task force has done. So kicking things off, Chelsea, tell us how you got to Beacon Hill. How did you discover staffing? And then how did you get your role as a DEIB resource manager?
Yes. So definitely happy to be here. Glad we got the technology to work. I'm super excited. And yes, Ashley is amazing, and it does. It feels like I'm just chit-chatting with my friends. So definitely excited to do this. As far as my story goes, so really interesting. I got into staffing through campus. A campus recruiter had approached me, but it was actually for a different staffing firm. So I ended up interviewing with that firm. I ended up working for that company. And to be honest with you, it just was not the right fit for me. I felt like I was doing the job. I felt like I was really good at the job. It just wasn't the right organization for me. So I kind of started looking elsewhere, and I got a call to interview for Beacon Hill. And so I interviewed for a recruiter position in our Orange County, California market. And I remember at the time they were not looking for a recruiter, but they said, hey, we like you. We want you to come on board. And I said, please bring me on. I will work hard, I promise. So I ended up coming on board as a recruiter, and then from a recruiter, which that was actually back in 2015. And even actually, I'll rewind back to, I was at San Diego State. So that's where I graduated college from, San Diego State. And it was a campus recruiter from a different firm, went and worked there, then came on board to Beacon Hill in 2015 as a recruiter. And then from a recruiter, I became a salesperson, and then I became a senior salesperson, and then I took on a senior managing consultant role. So I was actually leading a sales team and my own book of business, and I loved it. It was craziness, but I absolutely loved it, and was under, our technology division doing that. And then my fiance, who's now my husband, looks at me and says, I have a job opportunity and an interview for a company in Oregon. And I don't know if you're familiar with sunny Southern California, but it's very different than Oregon. And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
A little bit of a change. Yeah, I said, absolutely not. And somehow I ended up moving to Oregon. So I left my Orange County team, but interviewed for corporate recruiting and joined our corporate recruiting team as a senior corporate recruiter on our experienced hiring team. So I really talk to candidates who are from the industry or from the business. And I also talk to a lot of people within staffing or within recruiting and within sales. And so took on that role in 2020. And then beginning of this year, was just really involved within DEIB. I was already a task force member. We started something called DEIB Champions, which was really this this piece to the organization where if you started at Beacon Hill and you wanted to connect with someone and you wanted to chat with someone that maybe you have a similarity with or a commonality with, I was kind of that point person to maybe put you in touch with someone in the company. And I think just with me, spearheading that and really doing stuff with DEIB champions, it ended up turning into really a DEIB resource manager role. So now I have a dual role. I still do corporate recruiting. I still hire experienced candidates. And then I also run all of our DEI initiatives for the company. So yeah, that's my story.
I mean, just speechless. It's incredible. Chelsea is absolutely amazing. She does so made such a great impact here at Beacon Hill, and her efforts here with the DEIB Task Force are amazing. And speaking of that, good kind of transition to our next question. Maybe share with everyone, what is our DEIB Task Force?
Yes. So great question. So our task force is actually comprised of about 17 individuals across the organization. And all of these individuals are from all different backgrounds across the company. And we have two co-chairs. One of our co-chairs is Andy Wang, and the other is Senior Regional Vice President Brian Kelly. And really, the task force is there to help build that system of resources, procedures, policies, plans that really support diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And I do think it's important to note, companies can have diversity, right? But do you have equity? Right. And you can have diversity and equity, but do you have that inclusion? And then lastly, that belonging piece is you may be in an organization with diversity, equity, inclusion, but do you feel like you belong? Do you feel like there is that place for you? So that's really what the task force does. We meet on a monthly basis. We talk about really 4 major areas, which is our employee resource networks, which we'll talk about in a bit. We also talk a lot about campus and, what is campus doing? What's corporate recruiting experience doing? Are we at various diversity-led events? Are we at HBCUs? Like, what are we doing from a diversity standpoint in that aspect? So we have a group within the task force that does that. And then we also have our communications subcommittee. So all the communication that we send out, honoring and celebrating various holidays. And then lastly, we have our training kind of committee within that task force, and we help build and kind of roll out a lot of the training that you see throughout the year. So that's what the task force does. And I just love everyone on the task force.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you breaking all of that down. I always think it's so special that Andy Wang, our CEO, co-chairs this with Brian Kelly. Really shows the importance of this task force and implementing change and process and trainings and our amazing ERNs, which I know we'll dive into. So I know that was something that really stood out to me from the very beginning and something I think is super special. Kind of going off of that, what important strides do you think DEIB has made since its founding in 2000 up till today?
Yeah, so we started the task force in 2020. And when we started that task force, our meetings, we had so many ideas, right? Like so many ideas, so many things we wanted to do. And it's taken a few years to kind of get a lot of those things kind of built out. But I think a couple key things that really I want to highlight today. One, we have our diversity calendar. And that's a DEIB initiative. It's also an HR initiative. But if you are familiar, and if anyone is on this call who isn't familiar, Beacon Hill, we actually have a full diversity calendar. So there are 3 additional floating holidays every single year that you can take. And there's everything on there from Jewish holidays, you have Kwanzaa that's on there. There's just a lot of different holidays that if it doesn't necessarily fit the ones that we already have off, and you're like, look, I want to do something with my family, or my family and I honor this particular day, or hey, International Women's Day, that's an important day, I want to take that off and do something. Like, we encourage people to take those diversity days. So I think that's really cool, and it's something that we've implemented, and I always tell my candidates about it because to be honest, Ashley, I don't see other companies doing that. Right. Maybe they say they have unlimited PTO or whatnot, and then you say, hey, I want to take International Women's Day off, and it's like, nope, can't do that. So I feel like at our company, like, we support that, and that's a big piece of one of the things I talk to candidates about. So diversity calendar is really cool. Some other things that we've done too is just, in addition to the creation of my role, to really make sure that we are moving the needle, that things are proceeding. On the campus side, there's now various DEIB-led campus events that you guys are attending, brunches, multicultural events, just really making sure that we're targeting all candidates, right? And being very inclusive with our hiring initiatives from that campus side, also from the corporate recruiting experience side. Other things too is just our communication. Our communication has gotten stronger. We have various communication each month for various days. We have our Juneteenth communication, and we also kind of do things too, like telling stories and hearing from different people in the company. So I think our communication has since expanded. And then employee resource networks. So I oversee all of our employee resource networks, which I'm super excited to talk about. If you don't know about them, it is a phenomenal way to get involved. These are really employee-led affinity groups. So if you have a common interest with someone, common experience with someone, and you're like, look, I really want to join this group and I want to be able to connect with other individuals in the company, it's a great opportunity for you to do so. And maybe you would have never had that opportunity to otherwise. So the first one we have is Fierce, which you are a member of. I see you all the time. Yes. So
I love it.
Fierce is our women in leadership group. And all of our ERNs too, I just want to note, they're led by 2 co-leads and a leadership sponsor. So those co-leads are really the ones that come up with programming ideas. I work with them on various topics. I work with them on how to get, engagement. And then we have a leadership sponsor, and that is someone who's very senior in the organization who kind of, just helps. They help in any way that we need. They help get the word out. They help kind of guide us. They help give direction. They help get awareness, right? So we have those leadership sponsors, which are really important. And just so everyone is aware, some people may hear employee resource groups. A lot of companies say ERGs or employee resource groups. Here at Beacon Hill, we chose employee resource networks just because we felt like it was mini networks versus groups. So that's kind of why we went with that name. But we have Fierce, we have Standout, which is LGBTQ plus at Beacon Hill. We have Launch, which is our young professionals network. We have Mosaic, which is our colleagues of color. And then we just started actually on Wednesday, I believe it's November 8th. Look on the intranet, everyone. But our new ERN will have their very first meeting, and that is RAISE, and that's Beacon Hill Working Parents and Caregivers. We definitely want to do a health and wellness ERN, and that will most likely be started in 2024. So more to come.
Absolutely incredible. You touched on so many amazing points. I even want to back up to the diversity calendar. That was one of the first things that I really noticed that came out from the task force in combination with the HR team of implementing change. When I saw that,
Yeah.
the list of these incredible holidays and religious events that you can now decide how you want to use your floating holiday. I'm like, this is amazing. And like literally what I'm looking for in terms of that impact. I know you mentioned that you share that with your candidates. That's like an example I share with my candidates too, because that was one of the first things that I noticed. I was like, oh, wow, I really appreciate that change and that impact from adding on that diversity calendar. Talking employee resource networks.
Yes.
Why do you think they're so important, and how do people get involved with the ERNs too? I think they're absolutely incredible. When I saw that Fierce, which is Women in Leadership, came about, it's an amazing way to get connected with other people at the organization. We have monthly meetings. In Fierce, I was able to hear from amazing women in leadership and hear their stories. And it's just so inspirational. I love it. But maybe, Chelsea, you can share a little bit about why you think they're so important and critical to an organization, especially a DEIB task force as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people ask me, like, what is an ERN? And I think it's important to understand what it is and then kind of why that important piece is there. An employee resource network is a place for you to go and to network with other individuals in the company that maybe you would have never met otherwise. And I think the key thing there too with what they do is some of the meetings are discussions, right? Some of them are games and kind of trivia activity. A lot of them are internal speakers and also external speakers, and it gives you a chance to kind of ask questions and do things that maybe you wouldn't have had the chance to. And I think that it's so important for people to feel, again, that sense of belonging and inclusion, right? A sense of, I have somewhere to go to connect with other people. And if you are, someone in your office and you identify in a way and you're like, I want to connect with other people that I also identify with. And if that is colleagues of color, or if that is other women leaders, or if that is members of the LGBTQ plus community and allies, like you should have a place to also go to build that connection and build that rapport with other people, in addition to the people in your office, of course, but also all of Beacon Hill. And I think what's really cool about this is actually Launch, which is our Young Professionals Network, they just did a Benefits 101 meeting last month. And, or maybe it was this month, beginning of October. And what's really cool about this is it was an opportunity for people to ask questions with no judgment, right? We have a lot of resources, you know, all around us. We have lunch and learns. We have different things that are emailed to us, right, about benefits or things that aren't, you know, important, right? And we read them, but we're all moving so quickly that you're like, I don't really know what I read, but I know it's important and I know I need to sign up for benefits, right? So this was a great opportunity for our young professionals to say, hey, guess what? I don't really know what a deductible is. You know, I don't have parents to tell me what that is. I asked my big sister. She told me that it's, you know, that it costs money. Like, I don't even know what I'm paying for. So this was an opportunity for people to ask questions without judgment amongst their peers. And I actually received an email from someone who said, this was incredible. And I never felt comfortable asking questions because I felt like I should have already known the answers. And so that's a perfect example of anyone can come in, you know, anyone, and again, an ally, a member of the community, you can come in and you can have these conversations, and it is that judgment-free opportunity to do so. So I just feel like it's so important. And, you know, if anyone is looking to feel like, hey, I want to connect with other people other than who's in my office, this is a way to do that. And I think too, Ashley, just another thing is a lot of our bigger offices, we have, right, finance, we have associates, we have life sciences, we have all of our divisions, and it makes up a multitude of individuals in an office, but we have many Beacon Hill offices that only have one division, right? Just tech, or just finance, or just associates. So this is also a great opportunity for you to meet people outside of your own division, right? Who's in associates, or who's in life sciences, or who's in government services. And then, you know, when we all go to the holiday party every December, you know other people outside of your own office, and you automatically have built some of that connection and rapport. So I just think they're phenomenal. And even if, you know, you only join one ERN or you join multiple ERNs, anyone can join an ERN at any time. You could work for Beacon Hill one day or 1,000 days. It doesn't matter. You can join at any time. And you can also join more than one. I do recommend, though, you know, for anyone new to the company, start with one and then kind of go from there. If you are definitely a more tenured employee and you're like, okay, I've got the hang of things, I want to join 2 or 3, join 2 or 3. You know, I'm not here to stop anyone, but I do think it's good to kind of start with one, and then as you expand and, you know, want to join more, you can absolutely get more involved.
That was amazing, Chelsea. And I think you really hit on a great point of like a sense of community and a safe space. Like, no question is dumb. Like, we're here to support each other. We're here to lift each other up. And I think that sense of safety and community is something that's really important, especially in the employee resource networks. And yeah, I mean, we're a company of over 1,000. Like you were saying, like some bigger offices have multiple divisions, but some locations might only have 1 or 2. So it is a great way to get connected with other people in other divisions all across the country and kind of make it feel a little bit more tight knit. And like you said, when you go to the holiday party or other events, you know some other people outside of your office or outside of your team, and creating those relationships and connections too, which I really enjoy. If someone's interested in joining an ERN, what does that process look like?
Yes. So, great question. They can contact me and I can either hop on the phone with you, talk to you about what ERN. If you want to just dive into, hey, I'd love to join an ERN, but I just want to learn more, and you don't necessarily want to give me a ring, that's totally fine. Go to the intranet. So our new intranet, Ashley, I mean, this thing is amazing. I mean, Beacon Hill, I would argue we have the best intranet in the business. It's phenomenal.
It's so helpful.
Anything that you need is there. And we have a whole DEIB section. So if you're interested in not only, you know, communication, right? DEIB communication or information on what's to come, or you want to join an ERN or you want to learn about ERNs, we actually have all of the charters on there. So mission statements, goals, who leads them, when they meet. So you can actually go to the intranet and you can see, okay, when does women in leadership meet, right? When does young professionals meet? When does working parents and caregivers meet? And kind of do some, research on your own and read their charters and say, hey, I'm kind of interested. And if you want to reach out to me, I can get you involved. Or you can also go to that section of the intranet and actually fill out a form. There is a place to put your name, division, and then also what ERN you want to join. All of those inquiries go directly to me. So I can also set you up through there as well. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Last question here.
Yeah.
In your opinion, why is DEIB so important to the culture of an organization?
Yeah, that is such a good question. It's interesting because I have my own answer to that, but I also have done so much reading and so much kind of education on how DEIB efforts lead to more inclusive workforce. It leads to higher productivity. It leads to revenue growth. It leads to all of these things that are incredible for an organization. It leads to more diverse candidates. It leads to more diverse management teams. It allows you to bring in really, really strong talent. And there are studies out there that show strong candidates, strong talent want to go to, teams and companies where they see someone that maybe looks like them, or they see someone that identifies like them. So that's kind of a piece that there's so much research out there that shows you the data of why it's important. But I think for me personally, it's really that it is that culture of the company. And I know now we have a chief of culture, which I think is huge. If anyone doesn't know this on a call, we at Beacon Hill have a chief of culture. Like, that is how important this is to Andy Wang, to our executives. We want everyone to feel a part of a bigger culture. And I think DEIB is going to be and is a foundation of that, right? You can't have a thriving culture of successful recruiters and salespeople if people don't feel like they don't belong, if people don't feel like they're in an equitable situation, or people don't feel like there's diversity around them. So I think, me personally here at Beacon Hill, I'm passionate about it. I will scream all day long. It's so important that people feel this, within the company, but also to pull it back to the data. It's proven. It increases revenue streams, and it really does make a difference, and people being excited coming to work every single day.
Yes, I love that. And Chelsea, I think you hit such a key point too, of the leadership and executives really caring about the impact that this task force has, and the trainings and the communication and the ERNs and the impact, and that sense of belonging and community, as you mentioned. That is so important, and something I'm so proud of from being here at Beacon Hill almost 9 years, which is crazy.
Right.
Organization that has an incredible task force that has implemented different impacts and trainings and changed, and these incredible resource networks for us to have. I absolutely love it, and absolutely appreciate you and all of your amazing, incredible hard work every single day as our DEIB resource manager. If anyone on this call is interested in learning more about our DEIB task force, we also have a whole amazing section on our website, includes all information about our different efforts, communication. It lists out everyone that's on our task force, and includes a link that will list out all of our ERNs that we have too. Are interested and do work here at Beacon Hill, feel free. You can reach out to Chelsea as well. But thank you so much, Chelsea, for being here today. I appreciate you and your time. Again, my name is Ashley Pfeifenberger. I'm our lead corporate recruiter here at Beacon Hill. This is Chelsea Walsh, our DEIB resource manager and senior corporate recruiter here at Beacon Hill. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining this call. Appreciate you, Chelsea. You are amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, everyone. And you can always reach out to me directly if you have any other questions.
Awesome. Thanks, all. Have a good one.
Bye.